Hi friends, I'm teacher Luke, and in today's video you're going to watch me take a full Duolingo English practice test with the new speaking question. This speaking question is probably going to be called interactive speaking, and it is not yet on the official exam, but it is likely to be added relatively soon. If you look somewhere down here in the video description, you can see where each section of this test begins. That way you can jump around the video as you please. Okay then, well let's jump right into it. So the first question type you'll see is called read and select. It's the one where you have to choose if a word is a real English word or not. Just like this. If it's not a real word, you click no. If it is a real word, you just click yes. Simple as that. But what is a real word? This is a question I get asked a lot from my students. A real word is a word which has a meaning attached to it. So these words here, they look like real words. They follow the correct English spelling rules, but they have no meaning, so it's not real. Simply put, if you know the meaning, click yes. If you don't know the meaning, just click no. Transition is a real one, click yes. Poser? Probably not. These are all unreal. Superficial, this is real. Unavoidable is real. Intervention is real. Okay, you guys just finished the first question type, but I just want to let you know quickly that you can get 10% off your official Duolingo English test by buying a test coupon with me at detready.com. There's a link below in the video description. Click that, follow the instructions, and get 10% off your official Duolingo English test. Okay, let's get to the next question type, which is called fill in the blanks. Now moving on to the second vocabulary question. This is called fill in the blanks. This one tests your vocabulary knowledge in context. You have to read a sentence and complete the missing word. You only have 20 seconds, so also really quick. Yes, so just like the other question type, read and select, because the time limit is so short, you really have to rely on your instincts. You don't have much time to strategize or think, you just have to act instinctively. Vibration. You can click continue or next, or you can just let the time run out. If you let the time run out, whatever you have written will be saved and submitted. It's up to you. You can click it or not. So that was fill in the blanks. In my opinion, it's one of the hardest question types on the exam, and the best way to prepare for it is to practice as often as you can. Now, you can, of course, practice for free, doing what I'm doing here, taking a practice test. But if you would like focused practice, then head over to detready.com's practice platform. Here, you can practice with thousands and thousands of questions and check your answers immediately. We have thousands of questions for fill in the blanks, but also thousands of questions for all of the other question types as well. So if this looks good to you, head over to practice.detready.com or just click the link somewhere down here in the video description. Okay, now we're moving on to section 3 of this test, and it's called Mixed Language Skills. Okay, now moving on to section 3, and this is the Mixed Language Skills section. Here you get a variety of different question types, and they come at you in different order as well. Let's just go through it. I'll show you what they are.
Where did you splash them?
The first one is called Listen and Type. Let me just do that quickly. And basically you have to listen and type out exactly what you hear.
Where did you splash them?
This is a dictation question type. So focus on getting all of the words correct, not adding words, not missing words, not changing words. And of course, focus on your spelling and punctuation. For example, here, this is a question.
Where did you splash them?
So yeah, make sure that's all correct. This is called read out loud. Basically, you have to read this sentence out loud as naturally as possible. It's crucial to stay up to date with the latest developments in the field.
It takes years of intensive study and training to become a medical doctor.
Intensive study, I can't type, and training to become a medical doctor. Let me double check that.
It takes years of intensive study and training to become a medical doctor.
Yes, you can listen up to 3 times. What I teach in my VIP program is to list the first listening, which comes automatically. You should type out as much as you can. Then use the second 2 listenings to double check or to complete any missing parts of the sentence. And you should always...
It takes years of intensive study and training to become a medical doctor.
And you should always listen 3 times just to double check and be sure. Okay. All right, so we're having... Oh, this one is called Read and Complete. This is similar to fill in the blanks, except it's much longer, and you have to do it for a whole passage. The first sentence and the title and the last sentences will always be complete, so read these first. It'll give you context, and you could probably find some type of repeated words. Ecotourism, okay. Okay, about ecotourism and the environment can include activities such as hiking, camping, and wildlife. Photography, it may involve trips to a particular region, such as a rainforest. Okay. For research. Study. Right, so yeah, you use the context to help you, and then if you have time, you should always double check, because yeah, you might have made a mistake. I often do with this question type. For me, this is one of the hardest ones. Okay, looks pretty good. So I have a minute left. I could wait and take a break, but I'm just going to continue.
We've ascertained the truth.
We've ascertained the truth. I think I spelled ascertained wrong. I think ascertained is SC. We've ascertained the truth. Yes. Sometimes the words can be tricky to spell. I think that's correct. Yeah. Okay, next one. Whoa. Okay, this is long, so I should hurry up. Okay. Among the numerous benefits, bicycles are incredibly cost-effective and economically advantageous for both individuals and city infrastructure.
Psychology teaches us that our behavior influences our beliefs. Psychology teaches us that our behavior influences our beliefs.
I've been working on my application and trying to make it as strong as possible.
We later realized that the window had been open the whole time. We later realized that the window had been open the whole time.
Okay, again, read the title, first and last sentences. Okay, can find old medicine, strange lotions, and old soaps, shampoos. I don't think anyone has cleared it out. Oh, my phone, excuse me. Turn your phone off on the real test. Okay, cool. That looks okay.
They liked swimming.
Okay, it's easy.
They liked swimming.
Over time, the two pilots started working together as partners instead of competitors.
The friends shared similar tastes in music. The friends shared similar tastes in music.
I'd be willing to pay. I'd be willing to pay.
I'd be willing to pay. I've been searching for an answer to that problem. Okay, now moving on to section 4, which is called interactive reading. On the practice test, you get this once, but on the official exam, you'll get 2 passages, so keep that in mind. This is the part 1 of interactive reading, where you have to fill in the blanks by selecting a word. Similar to read and complete, but a bit easier because, well, they give you the words to choose from. Okay, over the past 2 decades, technological development has a way to number broad given way to a number of broad changes in communications and information technology. Yes, these changes have fundamentally altered the way. See, actually, sometimes you can guess the word even before checking, just by the context. With the natural, we connect that with the natural world and with information. One of the most profound changes has been the rise of mobile computing, which has transformed how we communicate, activation and consume media, social media. Okay, that's what I'm going to go for. You can check your answers actually by here. So if you remember what you wrote, or what you selected, you can check. Anyway, so part 2 then, you have the same passage here, and then you have the last part of the passage, and your job now is to select the best sentence to complete the whole passage. So we've already read this, so don't need to read it again. Instead, I'm going to focus on the last part. Okay, so it's all about the way we communicate and use technology and our relationship with the natural world. Interesting. Okay, so let's try again. Social media. Or maybe it's about mobile devices. Alright, so I'm going to go for this one here, and the reason being is that it ends with mobile devices, and then this new passage, the last part of this whole passage, begins with mobile devices. So that's the connection. Social media, and you have social networks, mobile devices, and mobile devices. And you can check here. And the answer is correct. Yes, I was right. All right, so now we're moving on to the next question. It's called highlight the correct answer, highlight the text. Basically, this is a specific read-in task where you have to find the correct answer for this question. What time period is the article focused on? Okay, must be this one. Over the past 2 decades. Okay, yeah. So only highlight what is necessary. You don't need to highlight the whole sentence, for example. You just highlight the correct answer. Sometimes that might be a whole sentence, but in this case, it's just this part. What is the most important factor in encouraging and enabling changes in communication? I think the answer is your mobile devices. So let's find that here. There you go. The rise of mobile computing. That's the correct answer. Yep. This is the correct answer. Again, you do not need to do the whole sentence. You just highlight the correct part of the sentence. Okay, now is the main idea. So again, we've already read this. We do not need to read it again necessarily. You can if you need to. We don't need, but it's not a must. Again, it's all about mobile computing, right? So this is the answer. And then the correct title would be The Growth of Mobile Computing. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's done. Now moving on to section 5, which is interactive listening. Here you listen and participate in a conversation. After that, you have to summarize it in writing. So yeah, it's quite a tricky one. Let's get to it. All right, very important that you read and understand this. This is the context of the conversation. This is the vital information. If you don't know this, then it's really difficult to get the correct answers during the listening. So you are an urban studies student who is nearing the end of their undergraduate studies. You are trying to decide if you should apply for a job or a doctoral program. You ask your professor for his opinion. Okay. So you choose the first answer. So based on this context, you are beginning the conversation. Professor, what do you know? If you know, I think just first one. Hope you're doing well. Yes.
Hi, I'm doing well, thanks. What can I do for you?
Okay. So again, what's happening here? He needs to help to decide whether to apply for a doctoral program or to apply for a job. Okay, almost, but not master's program, doctoral program, right? This is the one. Yeah, also for this listening one, it tells you if you get it correct or not, so that's also nice.
That's a tough decision. Have you been looking at jobs in the field that you're interested in? That's true. A doctoral program would give you the opportunity to gain more knowledge and research experience in your field so that you can eventually get a job that you want.
Okay, so doctoral program will give him more experience and knowledge. Okay, didn't really ask a question, he just gave a statement, so these ones here are answering the question, and I think this has to be this one. But it feels like it would take so long, take several more years. Yes.
It definitely takes a lot of time and commitment, but it can be very rewarding. If you're not sure if an advanced degree is for you, why don't you try working in your field for a few years and then decide whether or not to pursue a doctorate later on?
Okay. Okay, must be this one. Or this one. Oh, I don't know. One of these two. So he suggested to, try it out, basically. Try it and see how it would work. I'm going to go for... That's a good idea. Oh, that's right. Good. Okay, so now I have 1 minute left, just a bit longer. Very important now that I read all of this one more time so I can remember it, because as soon as I click continue, I have to summarize this conversation. Okay, so how many before deciding whether to pursue a doctoral or not. Okay, let's go. Oh, not going to finish. Okay. Quite short. Okay, now moving on to the write-in section. Here we'll get 2 question types: write about the photo and interactive writing. On the real test, you'll get 3 write about the photos. However, on this practice test, you just get 1. This is Okay, this is now interactive writing. The first part we will get to write for 5 minutes, and then we have to do a follow-up response for 3 minutes. The follow-up response will be on the same question, but the question is normally more specific and you have less time, so you're not expected to write as much. Okay, some people feel that schools should devote more time to taking students outside the classroom to learn instead of solely relying on textbooks. Do you agree or disagree with this perspective? Give specific examples to support your opinion. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the speaking part of this question. This is now section 7 of this exam. There are 3 speaking questions we'll do in this practice test, so let's get right to it.
Do you prefer to sleep late or wake up early? Why?
Okay. So I'm going to use the PPF method. If you're not sure about that, definitely check out my VIP program where I teach this in detail.
Do you prefer to sleep late or wake up early? Why?
Currently, I prefer to go to bed early and wake up early. The main reason for that is that I have a family, and when my family are awake, it's very difficult for me to get any work done. So I prefer nowadays to wake up early so I can work in peace before the rest of my family get up and, disrupt me. In the past, I used to prefer the opposite. I would prefer to go to bed late and then consequently wake up late as well. I think this was because I was a lot younger. Of course, in the past I was younger, but also that I had much more of a social life. I used to go to restaurants late at night, go to pubs or bars with my friends, or even play football late at night with my football team. So in the past, I used to prefer to stay up late and socialize and then wake up late, but nowadays I definitely prefer to go to bed early and wake up early. In the future, I think I'm going to continue going to bed early and waking up early, simply because it's a healthier lifestyle, and as I am getting older, I'm almost 40, I need to be much more conscious of my health, and getting a good night's sleep is really important for staying healthy and staying fit and active. So yeah, right now I prefer to go to bed early and wake up early. Okay, this is speak about the photo. You have to describe this photo in 90 seconds. Go into lots and lots of detail. Okay. This is a photograph of a man pushing a cart along the beach. He is pushing the cart right by the waves on the seashore, and he is going from left to right of the photo. The cart is covered with clothing, which suggests to me that this man is trying to sell these clothes perhaps to tourists on the beach. I can see that he's working really hard because he's hunched over while pushing the cart. That kind of signals that the cart is heavy and he's using a lot of effort to push it. And of course, he's pushing it on sand, which is a lot harder than pushing a cart on the concrete. Now, he's on a beautiful beach. The sand is a really nice light brown color, and the ocean looks a turquoise green, so it must be a really clean part of the world, unlike the beach where I live by. The waves are not very big, but the sea does look a bit rough, maybe because it's a windy day. The sky is bright blue, and the weather looks to be quite warm since the man is wearing shorts and t-shirts. Yeah. Okay, now we're moving on to read, then speak. So this one is speaking about a topic for 90 seconds. So this one is where this one's a common question, is to describe your favorite school subject. Again, I'm going to use the PPF method for this. So currently I'm not in school because I finished school a long time ago, but when I was in school, my favorite subject was history. I liked this a lot, mainly because my history teacher was really inspiring and he really brought the subject matter to life. I studied it for the whole time I was in school. I actually studied it for A-level, which in the UK is the furthest level you can take a subject in compulsory school. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed studying it a lot. I also got very good grades in it, mainly because I enjoyed studying. It was important to me at the time because I found it interesting, and I didn't find many subjects in school very interesting, but at that time I found history to be quite interesting, so I would go out of my way to learn about other areas of history, not just what my teacher was teaching me. Nowadays, I still enjoy studying history. I don't study it formally, I just study it by myself by listening to podcasts or watching history documentaries on TV. Going forward in the future, I would love to have the time to travel to some really historic cities. Giza in Egypt or Rome in Italy, those ones come to mind. I would love to go there and experience the history in person. All right, now we're moving on to the new question type. This is called Prepare to Have a Conversation. I think it'll be called interactive listening when it's interactive speaking when it's officially released. Here you are having a conversation.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about conversation. Describe how you usually start a conversation with someone new.
So I am terrible at starting a conversation with someone new simply because I'm quite socially awkward and quite shy. However, if I have to start a conversation with someone new, I prefer to ask them about their hobbies rather than their job. Typically, people would start a new conversation with someone new by asking, what do you do? Like, what job do you have? But for me, I don't like asking that question, so I typically ask people what they enjoy doing or what they do in their free time. That's how I start conversations with someone new.
I see. I've got a different question. Tell me about someone you enjoy having conversations with.
So I really enjoy having conversations with my brother. The main reason is that, of course, we know each other extremely well, but not only that, we also have the same interests. We both like the same sports, the same activities, and the same kind of academic subjects. So we have a lot to talk about. It's also very easy to talk to him because he's a good listener and he has lots of information on the subjects that we enjoy to talk about. So that's fun, and yeah, he's the best person to speak to.
I see. Let me ask you another question. Discuss whether you think listening is as important as speaking in a conversation.
Yes, listening is absolutely as important as speaking in a conversation. A lot of people these days don't listen very well. They'd rather just speak or share their own opinions rather than listen to their conversational partner's opinions. Listening is so valuable because you learn so much more if you just stay quiet and listen, and you can gain some real insights into the person you're talking to if you take the time to listen to them.
I see. I have another question. Describe some challenges people face when having conversations in a new language.
Well, besides the obvious problem of speaking in a second language, which is really tricky, another major problem is cultural knowledge or background knowledge. For example, my wife, she is from Korea, but she lives here in the UK with me, and her English is amazing. It's so good. But she has a hard time having a conversation with British people, not because of the language, but because of the background knowledge that she's missing. She doesn't get the context about what is being said.
Thanks for talking about conversation with me. Now I'd like to change topics and ask you a few questions about audiobooks and books on tape. Do you think audiobooks are good for people who dislike reading? Why?
Yes, of course, they are very good for people who dislike reading, because if it was not for audiobooks, then these people would never read or never get the information from a written book. It also means that people who are very busy can listen to audiobooks and learn everything that's in the written version, but through audio, they can listen and learn while they are commuting or doing other aspects of their life. So yes, I think it's very good, especially for those who dislike reading.
Thanks. I've got a different question. Describe some situations where audiobooks might be more useful than printed books.
I mentioned a couple reasons in the previous answer, but for people who are very busy, then listening to an audiobook can be done while they are busy. So, for example, I used to commute to work and I would listen to audiobooks every single day on the commute. It was very difficult for me to read a book while commuting, so listening to the book was a great alternative, and I really enjoyed it too. I also enjoyed listening to the author when they read out their own work. I thought that was really nice.
Interesting. I have another question. In your opinion, what are some of the most popular genres of audiobooks? Why?
I think non-fiction audiobooks are by far more popular than fiction audiobooks. The reason is that fiction is really hard to follow through audio, in my opinion, and from talking to my friends. It's really difficult. It's just hard to grasp. Whereas non-fiction is totally fine. You can listen to a non-fiction audiobook, and I think it's similar to reading it in terms of retention of ideas.
Okay, I've got a different question. How do audiobooks affect people's imagination compared to reading?
That's a good question, and to be honest, I don't really know. I've never really thought about it, but I would imagine that if you are reading, you are using more mental I don't know how to express this, maybe more mental power. So that requires your imagination to be more active while reading. Whereas if you're just listening, you're much more passive in the process. Therefore, you do not need to use your imagination as much. But I don't really know. A tough question. Wow. Okay.
Thanks for talking about audiobooks and books on tape with me. Have a nice day.
So that was the new speaking question. How was that? Was it easy or was it difficult? We're not finished with the test just yet, but I want to let you know that if you would like more focused practice on your speaking and writing, then head over to vip.detready.com. When you sign up to VIP, you get courses covering all of the question types, but mainly focusing on the speaking and writing ones. You get live lessons with me so you can meet me, chat to me, and ask your questions. On top of that, you get access to our practice platform for free, so you can practice all of the question types thousands and thousands of times until you become really, really confident with this Duolingo English test. All of this is at vip.detready.com, or you can click the link somewhere down here. It is a really helpful program, so I hope to see you there in one of my live lessons very soon. Okay, now we're moving on to the next section of this exam, so let's get right to it. Great, now we are on to the last part of this test, section 8. It's called the writing and speaking sample. These questions are graded, so they do contribute to your final grade, but also your universities you apply to can see your answers, so these are really important. Okay, prepare to write about the topic. How has art influenced or enriched your life? Tricky. Okay, this is the last question on the exam, and it's another speaking question. Here you have to speak for 3 minutes, but I believe, yes, you can stop after 1 if you want to. And yeah, remember that the university will have the option to view this answer, so yeah, make a good impression of yourself. Describe a person who you admire. Okay. So there is one teacher that I really admire. His name is Mr. Dennis, and he was my primary school teacher in year 5, so when I was about 10 years old. This person really inspired me a lot because he taught me to believe in myself and to have more courage in my life. He was also my rugby teacher at the time, and prior to him being my rugby teacher, I didn't have much interest in the sport or confidence, but he really inspired me to, like I said, believe in myself and show other people that I was actually quite a good rugby player and quite a good athlete. He demonstrated my strengths, which was speed and passing and kicking, and how I could really benefit the whole team if I had more confidence in myself. Yeah, he was a really great teacher. Actually, I saw him not that long ago, and he is still teaching at the same school. So I'm sure he is also inspiring lots of other children as well. What did I learn from him? Well, thinking about it now as an adult, I can say quite honestly that adults can play a really important role in children's lives, and adults should be very careful how they treat children because this can have a lasting effect. So yeah, that's what I've learned. I've learned that even if you're a teacher or a parent or uncle or aunt, then you should still treat children with the respect they deserve. And as an adult, our primary role to kids is to encourage them and to build up their confidence. So yeah, that's what I have learned. Yeah. Okay. Did quite well on this test. I got 150 to 160, so that's excellent. And this practice test took about 45 minutes. If you are preparing for your exam, you should 100% do these practice tests every single day, even if there are some repeated questions, just so you can get very familiar with the test format and the speed. Also, you can build up your endurance. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to study more with me, head over to vip.detready.com. There I go over strategies to help you to ace all of the different questions on this Duolingo English test. I also do live lessons twice a week, and you get access to my practice platform. That's all included in the VIP program. There's a link somewhere down here. I'm sure you can find it yourself. Okay, thank you very much. I need to take a break now because it's quite a tiring test, even this practice test. So thank you. What you need to do is click on the link or watch this speaking video right now, because it will help you with the PPF method that I mentioned earlier. Is a very effective way to answer these speaking questions. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.